بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين لا قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, we are going to continue the questions and answer session about the Arafat and Muzdalifa. We stopped at question number 10. We're going to continue from 11th question. Then again, a reminder, there's no extra wajib there. Just stay there with the intention. Intention, stay there. There's there's an essential rukun part, which one must do it. And there's an obligatory part, which one must do it. But if it's missed, then the Hajj is okay. But then there'll be kafara or something like that, penalty. So intention, stay there in the precise time, okay, prescribed time, and then so essential stay and obligatory stay is full time. Essential stay is part of the time. Just stay there for some part. You have done your rukun. You have done the pillar of Hajj. But if you don't do the remaining, you'll be sinner if you did not have any excuse. So prescribed time, intention, prescribed time, the primary stay. Then we had a secondary stay for those who missed. In general, Muzdalifa should not be missed at any cost. Muzdalifa missed, kiss your Hajj goodbye. Okay, so that is very important to understand, that there is an essential I'm talking about unintentional. Intentional, kiss your Hajj goodbye even in Arafat. But let's say if you missed Arafat for some reason, and you missed Muzdalifa, primary stay, and you only got secondary stay in Muzdalifa, that's not sufficient. Secondary stay is sufficient with the primary stay or secondary stay of Arafat. Secondary stay of Muzdalifa needs Arafat. But primary stay in Muzdalifa doesn't need Arafat. I mean, if in case accidentally it was missed or for some reason. So make sure that Muzdalifa is taken into consideration. If Arafat is missed or if the primary stay is missed, secondary stay of Arafat, Muzdalifa must be done. And then there was this, as I mentioned, that the ladies, they did revolution, that you did not make us come out of the bus and we needed to collect the stone and we have been doing this all our. So the Sharia gave them the flexibility, but Alhamdulillah, they did not, they were very strong. They did not want to use the flexibility. But nowadays, it's not that generation, and especially the elderly ones, they complain. But the youngsters, they were thankful to Allah because, oh, the youngsters, the young women nowadays, they're not like old days. They were vacuuming, not vacuuming, brooming, brushing. So much. They were like Mrs. Musculars, our old ladies. They would to go to the river and get water and wash the clothes with their hand and this and that. So you see the lifestyle of the old generation women and the new generation women, it's changed. It's not like hand washing machine. It's not like brooming. Nowadays, they have automatic robot brooms as well. They go around and around like a dog sniffing here and there. And then, so the cooking, microwave, whatever the things they have, like now cooked food coming from the restaurants. And so it's not like women are spending too much time in chores, okay, in house chores, washing clothing, cleaning. Everything is done by machine. So they don't have that much strength unless if they go to the gym regularly and do muscle building or whatever. Okay. So therefore, for them to tell them to stay the whole night without any shelter, they look, women, they just lift their thing and they discharge their stool and urine, whatever, because they can't hold. I mean, there are long queues of Thanksgiving are there beside the bathrooms. So Sharia gave them flexibility because Allah knows what's happening and knows what will happen in future. So that's why the women, even if they're not weak women, the women in general, the women and the elderly and the weak ones. So women is a category. Old women, young women, it all weak, not weak, it all falls in women. The thing, elderly men and elderly women. So elderly women, they don't mention because they're included in women. So elderly men, the children, and the sick ones. So if women, she's not sick, she's exempt. Men, if they're sick, they're exempt. Not not just that, caretakers of these women and children and elderly and sick ones and weak ones. So, and there are people that have urine problems and there are people that have issues, you see. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easier for them to survive this journey of Hajj. So then they said we have been doing this like every time we come for Hajj and we are given this. But now you're just letting us miss Muzdalifa and Muzdalifa. Baba, we made the intention in the bus. You were in Muzdalifa. You did not miss Muzdalifa. And I made sure that they repeat after me the intention, every single one. So and then slowly they were trained, alhamdulillah, because they would not attend the sessions of Manasik al-Hajj. So they never knew that I had explained this thing several times in the Ahkam of Manasik al-Hajj. That's the problem. So the bus of women, it goes all the way direct to Mina, passing through Muzdalifa. Okay, we don't let them stop. I mean, some caravans they do stop, but nowadays, alhamdulillah, most of the caravans they're aware about this ruling. But in my days, I mean, even the caravan lead, no, how can that happen? We've been doing Muzdalifah and women and this and that. Baba, follow the rules. It's not only say the Sistani Damadullah. It's those Maraja whom I have seen their book of laws of Manasik al-Hajj. They all are in unanimous. If there's an odd marja, I don't know about him, that's something else. But that this flexibility is provided. So that's why this question number 11 says that okay, are the no, this question number 11 we did, question number 12. Okay. Yes. It's a bit long question. Let's see. Uh, there are people who are guides in the Hajj. Uh, they either explicitly say it or implicitly say it. What do they say? They explicitly or implicitly, like indirectly, say that the Hajj will not be sufficient if you stay in Arafat with them, with their moon sighting or with their not moon sighting, declaration of the first Dhul Hajj. Okay. And they tell the people to redo the Hajj next year. But poor people, next year the same thing happens. It's not like it's like once in a blue moon. Every year this happens. Yes, sometimes the followers of Ahlul Bayt, their moon sighting encounters their declaration of Hajj. Sometimes no. And sometimes Sayyid al-Khoi followers, they're different than Sayyid Sistani followers. So therefore, this is for the followers of Sayyid Sistani, because Sayyid Sistani is obligatory precaution. No. You have to refer to another marja in this issue. So, and they tell them to redo the Hajj in the upcoming year. In a year that the the first Dhul Hajj is proven together. But most of the people, they travel 25th Dhul Qa'dah, 28th Dhul Qa'dah, and they have to make the payments like 1 month or 2 months ahead of time. And in some countries, like in the holy month of Ramadan, and they will not, it's non-refundable. Unless if there was an extreme circumstances, some caravans they refund it, but most of the caravan not, and some of them have whatever reason, whatever refund. We're not talking about that. The problem is that they tell them you do again next year. So for those people who don't need visa, like many Gulf country nationals, to go to Saudi Arabia, that this can be applicable. They can decide on first Dhul Hajj they want to go Hajj or not. But what about the mass majority of the people? They can't decide. So these guides, these religious guides, they tell them, oh, this year the stay in Arafat is not according to the fiqh of moon sighting of the school of Ahl al-Bayt, or according to say this Sistani Damadullah. So next year you come back if and some guides they say go back to Arafat on the day of Eid. Okay. So the questioner asked, and some of them they asked them to go back to Arafat on the day of Eid, which is 9th Dhul Hajj. Um, which is 9th Dhul Hajj, based on the criterias of the school of Ahl al-Bayt, specifically followers of Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah. Because as we said that, for Sayyid al-Khoi, if there was a possibility in United States and there is a sharing of the night, that's sufficient. But Sayyidi Sistani, no. So it's not just only Sunnis and Shias, it's Shias and Shias also. And there's no problem because this is ijtihad. This is Islamic jurisprudence, where even the Sunnis among themselves, they have differences. They had four maraja: Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i. They have their maraja of taqleed, fiqh. And then they open up school of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab and the Egyptian Azhar. They opened up. They say there's no hadith of the Prophet telling us just follow these four. It's ijtihad. It's a matter of deduction, development of the jurisprudential deduction methodology and development of the methods in Sunnis and Shia school. So they have many muftis. They call the marja' mufti. We have several maraja. They have several muftis, and they have two schools. One school of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab in Saudi Arabia, and one school of Azhar. And we have also Najaf school and Qom school, and there are a bit variances. So these variances are not about Shias and Sunnis. It's about the Islamic jurisprudence, the methodology variances in the methodology, the arguments which are used to derive the laws from its resources. That's where the variances happen between the Sunnis among themselves and between the Shias amongst themselves. So therefore, it is very important for us to understand that many times unaware people or ignorant people about this, oh, you're creating disunity between Shias and Sunnis. You're creating disunity between Shia. Baba, this is not about unity is in the heart. Unity is in understanding. Unity is in respecting each other with variances. It's a test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalas, everybody follows their fiqh, their fatwa, their jurisprudence, and no more of these commotions of disunity. Disunity happens when even if they have same moon sighting, they fight with each other. That's disunity. It's not about moon sighting or non-moon sighting. It's about the how you respect each other. The Sunnis, they respect Shias, and the Shias, they respect Sunnis. Everybody follows their own method of jurisprudence, and that's it. There's no hard feeling in there. The ignorance, they create this kind of commotions and hard feeling. Oh, so many Eids and so many Hajj and so many this, and when I was in United States once, our Sunni fellows, they had three Eids. One was based on Saudi, one was based on the one was based on astronomical emergence of the moon, one was based on Saudi Arabia, one group was based on the local sighting in United States. It's normal. It's this is the way the fiqh ends up into these kind of conclusions, and the people, they have to follow whatever conclusions they have been satisfied with. So yeah, so some of the religious guides, they say go back to Arafat to secure your stay in Arafat, which is the real 9th Dhul Hajj, according to the religious criteria of Sayyid Sistani Damadullah. We have, because we're discussing Sayyid Sistani. And if you're following Sayyid al-KHOEI, then according to the criteria of Sayyid al-KHOEI. If you're following so based on the criteria, and some other religious guides, which are the majority, they say Hajj is okay with them. That's fine. So what is your comment on that? Obviously made in the text the same comment, you see. He says that we do not give fatwa, okay, to or we do not give fatwa of the sufficiency of Hajj with their moon sight, with their declaration, if it was against our religious criterias for moon sighting. If not, yeah, it's not like we can't do with them. No, it's not about them or us. It's about the religious criteria. And we saw sometimes the whole world, Shias and Sunnis, they do eat together. Sometimes they have differences. Sometimes the Sunni world, they have differences. Sometimes the Shia world, they have differences. It's normal. So it's not about Sunnis and Shias. And also, we do not give fatwa that it is not sufficient at all. Okay? All what we consider is a precautionary measure. That obligatory precaution, it would not be sufficient. Okay? Obligatory precaution. So refer to, so he says our followers can refer to another marja, another jurist, and refer to him in this ruling. And as for the precautionary measures, the precautionary measure is to perform both stays of Arafat and Muzdalifa, which is according to the religious criteria of moon sighting, according to us, according to Sayyid Sistani. Because the Maraja, they have differences. So if someone performs the both stays of Arafat and Muzdalifa according to the religious criteria, according to our religious criteria, then it is good for those who can do it without any any danger or without any threat, okay, without any threatful condition. Rather, it is necessary to do it unless if you refer to another marja. So it gives two options. If you can go back without causing any harm or trouble or problems, then go back. Even if you get the essential one of Arafat. If not, then refer to someone else in this ruling who considers this kind of stay sufficient. Question number 13. Again, about the moon sighting, which we have mentioned. Yeah, it's a repetition. He said the precautionary measures. Our precautionary measure is obligatory. Our precautionary measures in this moon sighting issue, we mentioned, is obligatory. So it's an obligatory precaution. So whoever follows us can refer, whoever follows us in that taqleed can refer in this precaution to other marja with the observation of most knowledgeable after most knowledgeable. So if you have most knowledgeable saying something, you have to follow that after me. If he also does not give you sufficiency and tells you ihtiyat wajib, go to the next most knowledgeable. Like that, most knowledgeable after most knowledgeable. In ihtiyat wajib, you go to the most knowledgeable after your marja. If that has the similar precautionary measure like your marja, you go to the next alim. And like that, you have to go like staircase. You see, you have to go like from top to lower to lower to lower. And they need to be qualified and verified as marja, relieving mubra' lidhimma, relieving their liability and responsibility by following them. So, and whatever we have mentioned in our researches, the arguments, it is an academic situation, but we did not give fatwa accordingly. So what he says is, yes, we said that based on the criteria, like the criteria of ijtihad, it shouldn't be a problem to do Hajj. But he said that I did not give fatwa. So whatever the academic criteria leads to, there is no evidence that Hajj is not sufficient with their declaration. No evidence. That is what the methodology of ijtihad concludes. However, we do not give fatwa based on that. He said, I don't want to give a fatwa of sufficiency. So I just use precautionary measure. So he did not say, he doesn't have a fatwa that it is not sufficient totally if they declare. And so therefore, he said on the basis of obligatory precaution, it's not sufficient. So there is difference between fatwa and precautionary measure. So precautionary measure is that I'm not saying that Hajj is wrong. And he mentioned this in his research. So he said what I have mentioned in his research is on a research academic level, but on a practical level, I'd like to use a precautionary measure and consider it not sufficient as a precautionary measure if the declaration was not according to the religious criteria, okay, in the school of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, or in the fatwas of Sayyidi Sistani damadallah. So therefore, refer to other marja on a practical level. Theoretical level, I do not have any evidence indicating that their Hajj is insufficient. So he says that uh, you consider the precautionary measure, but it has been mentioned in your lectures, in your like advanced level lectures, that you have argued all the supporting. I mean, it's not important, it's just for the HAJJ, advanced level HAJJ, this sentence. But the bottom line is that yes, in the deduction level, he had argued, but in the practical level, he has given a precautionary measure. It was like the sentences, it was said that in your lectures or jurisprudential lectures, you argued argued against all the evidences which considers the Hajj correct. That means to him it should not be correct. So then the questioner implies that if you consider the Hajj invalid in according to the evidences, then why did you plug it with precautionary measure? Okay, why did you give fatwa that the Hajj is not valid? So yeah, so he said that whatever we said in our research is academic for academic purpose, and we did not give fatwa based on that, and we use precautionary measure rather. Okay. Question number 14. Same thing. Precautionary measures. Since you have made a precautionary measure that it is not sufficient to uh, to um, to stay in Arafat, in Muzdalifa, with their declaration if it was against the religious criteria, according to your religious criteria. I'm just remodeling the question to be more precise because the question has some loopholes here. Okay. So because he mentioned previously, if it was according to the and if it was not according to the religious criteria. And whose religious criteria? His religious criteria, because he has difference with Sayyid al-Khouei's religious criteria. And maybe the Sunni school of thought or the declaration was according to Sayyid al-Khouei, which happens many times. And rarely it happens according to Sayyid Sistani. So it's not like a black and white thing that they are one day, we are next day. No, it's not like, it's again, I'm not going to repeat. It's a fiqh issue, jurisprudential issue. Okay. So, yeah, since you have given a precaution or made a precautionary measure, used a precautionary measure in this ruling of staying in Arafat and Muzdalifa with according to their declaration, if it was against the religious criteria, against your religious criteria. I've rephrased the question to be more specific. So here's the main question that was since. And there are several scholars, several jurists, okay, they say it is sufficient. So if one of your followers want to refer ruju', wants to refer to in this ruling to someone else, is it necessary for him to know who is the most knowledgeable after you so that he can refer to him? Or it is sufficient that those who are those who are among those who have doubt in their alamiyya, in their being most knowledgeable, like there are 4 or 5 people, one of them is most knowledgeable after Sayyid Sistani, Damodullah, and they all say that it is sufficient. So do I have to find out who's the most knowledgeable, or it is sufficient for me to just refer to one of them? Okay. So he says, Am yakfihi al-ilm, or it is sufficient for him. So is it necessary to find out who's the alim after you, or it is sufficient to know that that my referring to be my referring will be to one of those who are considered to be a'lam in general, but we don't know who's specific, like among the group. فتاوى منهم في أطراف الشبهة العالمية. So that my action is according to one of those who are who are whom have or there's a doubt in their alamiyya. One of them is a'lam from them. Okay. So there's a confusion among them. Okay, that one of them is a'lam. Confusion in the Hausa. One say this is alam, one say this is alam. So for a lay person, he can't specify. So for him, one of them is alam, regardless of who. So he has this shubha, okay, confused state among these 4 or 5 maraj, and they all say it is sufficient to hajj with them. So that he said the one of them is supposed to be alam after you, but which one I do not know, or it is not known. So who considers that it is sufficient to follow the declaration made by them. Okay. So he says, يكفيه ما ذكر. It is sufficient what you mentioned. As long as you know that one of them is a'lam, you don't know which one, and they all say that it is sufficient. It is sufficient. You don't have to pinpoint the a'lam after, say, the Sistani or the specific one. Again, the ruling is according to the ruling is related to the moon sighting. Let me see if there is anything. Yeah. So he said that the precautionary measure of insufficiency of Hajj with their declaration if it was against your religious criteria of moon sighting is um, explicitly for Arafat and Muzdalifa, stay of Arafat and stay of Muzdalifa, or it is inclusive to the sleepover in Mina, the 2 nights, eve of 11th and eve of 12th. Okay, so it is inclusive that the criteria you mentioned about ihtiyat and refer to another marja. Is it just for Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifa, or it is inclusive to Mina as well? The sleepover in Mina, because there's a sleepover in Mina, 2 nights, 2 eves you have to spend night, 11th and 12th. He says the precautionary measure we mentioned about the moon sighting issue is inclusive to all what you mentioned. Okay. In that case, when you refer to another, you make your intention that you are referring to another marja in all these scenarios. Okay. So this is something which is which people, they do not make intention about referring to someone else in the case of two eves of Mina. And in case if you are able to go back to Arafat or at least Muzdalifa and get Muzdalifa done, the same thing you will consider their 11th eve of 11th, your eve of 10th. Okay, that means you are in Muzdalifa. So their eve of 12 is your eve of 11. Their eve of 13 then is your eve of 12. So when they leave on 12, you don't leave Mina on 12. You come to Mina and spend one of the half nights, either first half night or second half night. Okay, and then pelt the stone and leave. So so you will have to consider fix the date in all your actions if you're able to go back and you did not refer to another marja. If you're able so if you're able to go back, then you have to you continue the whole things together. So it is inclusive. So um question number 16 is a bit lengthy. Let's see if there's repetition or not. Yeah, so this is basically saying that we are still remaining on the taqleed of Sayyid al-Khoi Quddasa Sirruh. Okay? Sayyid al-Khoi, the difference between Sayyid al-Khoi and Sayyid Sistani, I mentioned. Sayyid Sistani's precise local sighting or sighting happened in the east, which has same parameters of the moon in the sky in the west. Same parameter, height, everything, or more. That is Sayyid Sistani. East, proven. Like let's say in Qatar or in Pakistan, it was proven. Then in Makkah and Medina, the moon in the sky of Makkah and Medina needs to be equal parameter to Pakistan or more, the height and everything, all those 5-6 parameters. So that is what Sayyidi Sistani says. Even if it's far, that doesn't matter if it's in the east and it was in the same moon sighting zone. That means the moon has been bigger, or at least if it go north, it is equal to the moon which was sighted in east. But Sayyid al-Khoi Quddasa Sirruh used to say in the west if it's proven. And when the Saudi government, they announce many times there is a possibility that the moon can be sighted in the west, but it was not sighted. So Sayyid al-Khoi would say that possibility is sufficient. The possibility of moon being sighted in west is sufficient for Makkah because they have sharing of the night. Many regions of United States, they share the night with Saudi. And not just that, even California. So even as far as California or Hawaii, sometimes they have sharing of the night with. So that's a big, huge distance for a moon to be to be in a sightable position in those. So that's why I said that Sayyid al-Khoi, Sayyid Sistani, they have differences. It's not Sunni Shia. It's even Shias among themselves. They have different fatwas. So therefore, he says that we are remaining on the taqleed of Marhum Sayyid al-Khoi Quddasa Sirruh. And after we refer to you, you told us to stay. After referring to you, we are staying on the taqlid of Sayyid al-Khoi. And his fatwa of insufficiency of these two stays of Muzdalifa and Arafat and Muzdalifa, with their declaration of the authorities' declaration, or the judge of the declaration, uh, is insufficient. And this is the fatwa of Sayyid al-Khoi: insufficient if there was a certainty about variation. There's no probability. Probability, say this says okay, but there's no probability. Okay, that means there was yaqeen. There is no moon at all to be in a citable position in Western regions like in Europe or United States or South America or North America. There's no possibility at all. So there's a yaqeen bil khilaf. In this, Sayyid al-Khoi would say the Hajj is not sufficient. Kiss your Hajj goodbye. Not ihtiyat. Sayyid Sistani, at least it has ihtiyat. Okay, then that means there's a room. But for Sayyid al-Khoi, if the khilaf was yaqini, it would have been a disaster. Yes, في سورة العلم بالخلاف, in whenever there's a knowledge, okay, certainty about the differences in the moon sighting issue. So, well, and the problem is most of these years, and after having the accurate astronomical data about the moon from its emergence, from the emergence till the parameters in that which can be sighted in on the sunset, and so on, we gain the knowledge that it is impossible to be sighted with the naked eye in certain in certain months where there's a declaration done, but it's impossible to be cited due to the accurate astronomical data. Our accurate astronomical data, that's another issue that can be discussed, but at least because there's certain time astronomical data is accurate, but there's certain time in the beginning of the region where moon can be sighted. I have seen like 5-6 astronomical things, they have variances in that. So, but whenever they agree on one point, that moon has same parameters, same height and everything, then that can give satisfaction. But if they have variances in their astronomical readings, then we have a problem with satisfaction. Who to follow? Is this person or that institute, this institute? Anyhow, so so we have that. Because of this data, we gain the knowledge that the moon can be sighted بالعين المجردة. Yeah, moon cannot be sighted. Yeah. So we gain the knowledge that moon, it's impossible that moon is in a sightable condition in the sky of any region sharing the night with Makkah and Medina. Okay, especially in Makkah, because the Amal are in Makkah. Whenever it's declared by the judge there. So can we relieve ourselves from this problem by referring to some other scholars who consider it sufficient whenever we have certainty about the variances, not possibility. Possibility, Sayyid al-Khoi says, okay, if it's possible that there might be in somewhere in the earth which shares the night, but he says we know for sure that the moon, it's impossible for the moon to be sighted by naked eye in regions where the night is shared with Makkah al-Mukarramah. So can we refer in this? It's not ihtiyat. That's why they want a solution. Uh, he says, no, لا مجال لذلك. He says there is no way you can refer to another mujtahid, okay? Apparently, because apparently, number one, it's a fatwa. Apparently, number two, he was the most knowledgeable. So unless if you find the equal to Sayyid al-Khouei knowledge says otherwise, then obviously you can refer to him. Or more knowledgeable than Sayyid al-Khouei, because the time has passed. There is a possibility there might be some maraja more knowledgeable than Sayyid al-Khouei. Then you have to refer to them in total, completely. So this is the thing, that tab'id, partial taqleed, has its own criterias and limitations. So we cannot just, like many maulanas, they, oh, do tab'id to Sheikh Wa'id al-Khurasani, do tab'id. Baba, the tab'id is not a game, okay? These people, unfortunately, they studied 10 years Hausa, but they even don't know the criteria of tab'id and when to do tab'id, and they take the responsibility of the people. They make their break their fast on the day of Eid, on the day of holy month of Ramadan. For them, for Sayyid Sistani follows it 30th of the holy month. And for them, because their marja is considered, and they want everybody to do Eid with their marja and with their, then they say, okay, do tab'id to fulan and fulan, fulan. And this is playing with the Sharia, games with Sharia. This is disloyalty with the Amama. They were not everybody, but there are many. I argued with them. So the problem is, just follow, let them follow their taqleed. Why? Who are you to impose on them to do tab'id, and you ignore, you're ignorant about the criteria of tab'id. And tab'id has strict criteria. First of all, a'lamiyya. How did you decide, and you're not even from the Ahl al-Khibra, of the professional experience in defining the most knowledgeable from non-most knowledgeable? How did you define that Fulan Marja is more a'lam than Sayyid Sistani or Sayyid al-Khouei or whatever? That's number one. How do the awam, they will know that who's most knowledgeable than Sayyid Sistani, or to do tab'id and to go to bypass Sayyid Sistani or Sayyid al-Khouei? So these are serious issues. People are taking serious issues in their responsibilities. They're not professional. It's like somebody who's not a doctor and gives a declaration of, gives a medicine fatwa, and there's a professional doctor available. So these kind of things are, sometimes the Sharia becomes joke in, when the jokers, they were amama, and they do like this kind of thing, and they make fun out of the people and fun out of themselves, and insult their 10 or whatever years they studied. I don't know what did they study. So therefore it is very important for us to know, whoever tells you tab'id, just do some checks and balances. Don't just because he's a nice Maulana, his majlis is nice, his lectures are nice, and he's a no, that nice is nice, that's respectful. But this is a serious issue, to take responsibility, to let the community do tab'id. Just you want to have one Salat al-Eid, and you don't want to do two Salat al-Eid and bother yourself and too much. Just let them do today and do tomorrow, because it's by default. It's a default of ijtihad. Ijtihad has this necessity to be, a marja is free thinker, and he has the angle of looking into the evidence. Another marja has a different angle, and sometimes these angles clashes. So they all need to be respected, rather than insulting them by demeaning them, by letting them people do tab'id and, oh, leave, follow this marja and follow that marja. There needs to be criteria. Anyhow, I don't want to go into the shakhshaqiyya phenomena. Yes. So here, so can people or followers Sayyid al-Khouei refer to some other and do this kind of? He said no. If there is certainty in the khilaf, and you are a follower of Sayyid al-Khouei, number two, and he's the alam, number three, in your according to your research, then you cannot kiss your Hajj goodbye and redo the next year. Okay. But nowadays, many of the scholars, top scholars, they considered the ruling of, say, the Sistani in moon sighting is more stronger and more accurate than Sayyid al-Khouei, because Sayyid Sistani has also provided his research on his website about the moon sighting. And he has used scientific data also to prove the religious data, ayat of the Quran and the Hadith about the moon sighting. So if you are a Hausa student, you have a background, you can go look into this bahth of Sayyid al-Khouei. And I have also explained this bahth in recording on my channel, on the same Al-Qaim channel. You'll find the difference between the criteria of Sayyid al-Khouei and Sayyid Sistani Damodallah. Anyhow, he says there is no way you can refer to another marja who considers the Hajj to be sufficient when wherever there is a certainty in the variation of the moon sighting issue. Question number 17. Yeah, I think we'll just because these are let's see if we can reach 20. 17. Again, Sayyid al-Khouei Quddasa Sirru, this question is repeating the criteria of Sayyid al-Khouei, which I already mentioned, that Sayyid al-Khouei has two scenarios whenever there's a difference with the declaration of the school of companion. Scenario number one, there's yaqeen, khilaf yaqeen, certainty in that means there's impossibility of moon being sighted. And the other scenario is there's a possibility but no certainty. There is a possibility, but there was no moon sighting recorded. There's nothing. So that means astronomical data show that there is a moon in a sightable condition, one of the regions which shares the night with Makkah al-Mukarramah. But is there any report of sighting? No. So Sayyid al-Khouei says if there is a possibility, then it's okay. If there's no possibility at all, astronomically, scientifically, it's impossible. Like 2 days variances, okay? If 1 day variances, there's a possibility. But 2 days variances, their declaration was 1 day. After 2 days was the moon was sighted, okay? That is too much. According to the rulings of Sayyid al-Khouei, it was mentioned the example of certainty, impossibility, 2 days variances, that's an example. 1 day variances, there's a possibility. But now with the scientific data, you can know that easily, that whether there is a region on the face of the earth where the night shares with Makkah and the moon, there's a possibility that the moon is in a sightable condition. So he said that now the question is, Sayyid al-Khouei's criteria was that possibility of coinciding the declaration, possibility of moon being sighted, possibility that coincides with their declaration. So yeah, which says you consider both not sufficient on the obligatory precaution. That means the yaqeen, if there's a variation in certainty in variation, you say obligatory precaution not sufficient. There's a possibility of variation, obligatory precaution not sufficient. You want certainty in the moon sighting, or the possibility of the moon sighting, or the knowledge of moon being in a sightable condition in the region of Makkah or regions before it. So he says here, the question says, هل المناط في احتمال المطابقة أن يكون الاختلاف بيوم واحد ومناط العلم بالمخالفة? So is it like the criteria? Sayyid al-Khouei Quddasa give an example. How do we know that's yaqeen and a possibility? Says if there's 2 days differences, yaqinan there's a khilaf for Sayyid al-Khouei Quddasa. He would not consider the Hajj valid. And if 1 day possibility, 1 day difference, there is a possibility, but we did not cite, so it was not declared. So Halil Manat is the criteria. He says no. the criteria is not like 1 day or 2 day. Perhaps 1 day criteria, 1 day differences, perhaps there's a difference between in 1 day, but definitely the moon is not in a sightable condition anywhere in that region which shares the night with Makkah. And that's scientific, subhanallah, the clarification. That's why some scholars, they say, we are in the taqdeed of Sayyid al-Khoi, but we had referred to say the Sistani in the moon sighting issue. Okay. So therefore, he uses a lot of specifics and details. It looks like he's an expert in this. And they have an observatory in Qom, the office of Sayyid Sistani, and they're one of the biggest telescopes there. So he said the criteria is not a day or a 2 day. That if it was 1 day, then it is a possibility of variances. If 2 days, certainty of variances. No, he says perhaps there's a variances of 1 day, but and it could be not according to the reality. Okay, the reality. That means there was an impossibility of moon being sighted, though it's 1 day difference. So that can happen. Such as they declared the month, because some of the Sunni school of thought, they said that once the moon is emerging from the darkness, and I explained this previously, let me just show you the thing. That's the moon. And yeah, let's take this one. Okay. So now this is the moon. Okay, the moon is now behind the shadow. Okay. So the moon is now out. Okay. But for the people of Earth, it's not in a sightable condition with naked eye. It needs to be more out. In a way, the criteria and the characteristics of moon is suitable to be sighted in by the people of the Earth. Like the criteria means the height, the illumination, the prolongation, and all those kind of 5, 6 things which are associated. So it is out. Now, some of the Sunni school of thought, they have this fiqh. Again, it's fiqh, and it's all respected. That once the moon emerges, that's done. Okay, even if it's not in a sightable condition for the people of the Earth. So this gives us impossibility of being sighted, though it's out, but it's not out enough, not sufficient that the people. And then there are grades. So one, it's out. One group of the Sunnis and Shias, they consider it khalas. That's the beginning of the month. It's out. Another group of the Shias and Sunnis, they say it's out and sightable by the people of Earth, but not with naked eye, with telescope. Some Shias and some Sunnis, they say that's sufficient. And then comes the school of Sayyid al-Khoi Quddus Sirruh. It needs to be out in a way that people of Earth can sight it with naked eye. And this is also Sayyid Sistani. However, Sayyid Khoi says, anywhere which shares the night with your region, it's sufficient. Sayyid Sistani, no. If this is happening in the east of your region and they sight it there, then if your region, you don't need to cite it. Just check the characteristics. If they're equal to or more than where it was cited in the east, regardless of the distance. Okay. The distance is criteria for west, that it should not be very far from the western region in a way that the criteria is the moon is sighted here and you are here. So if it is very far, no, it's sighted here. That means definitely it was not in a sightable condition here. But if it is on this region, it was sighted here and you are here, and the parameters are same. See, all about the parameters and characteristics of the moon. and the conditions of the moon sighting. So Sayyidi Sistani says the conditions are similar if they are close to each other. But if it's sighted in the east, okay, then all the way in the west, it becomes bigger and bigger and higher. However, if you go to the north, it might become smaller and smaller. So the whole idea of Sayyidi Sistani is pure scientific. That means the criteria of the moon, okay, regardless of the region, sunset, sunrise, with all the great scholars previously said, it's not that. I'm looking at the criteria and the parameters of moon to be in a sightable condition or not. So the regions they share, the sharing of the horizon means sharing of the criteria of the moon to be in a sightable condition. If it's in the west, it should be closer. If it's the east, distance doesn't matter, because the more you go, it may be bigger in most of the cases. Yeah, so he said that the criteria is not 1 night and 2 night. Maybe the variance is in 1 night, and it is against the reality, against the moon being sightable in the condition, in a sightable condition with the naked eye, such as they mentioned, they announced the entrance of the holy month of Ramadan, and the moon was still in the shadow. Because Sayyidi Sistani follows these things. So he said, like in the holy month of Ramadan, the moon was not even out. It was not sneak peeking, okay, or peeping Tom or whatever they call it. So it was not even out. It was just inside the shadow. It was not in the edge, and it was announced that the holy month of Ramadan has entered, according to the scientific data in the observatory of Sayyidi Sistani in Qom. So he said that such as they announced such as if they announced the entrance of the holy month, the month regardless of holy month of Ramadan. So in this ruling, he said the criteria is not what you mentioned. Perhaps there's a difference in 1 day, and there is a certainty in moon not being coinciding with the declaration made, official declaration made. Okay, so official declaration is not coinciding with the with this possibility of the moon sighting. It's impossibility of the moon sighting, such as if they announce the entrance of the month of Dhul Hajj, okay, and the moon is still behind the shadow. أو مع مضي وقت قصير جدا, or it was just like a very small amount of time, okay, it is out, like it's peeping Tom or like sneak peek or like something like that, but it's just a small amount of time. It's not sufficient for the moon to be in a sightable condition, okay. So that is so he's explained it. It's not like just 1 day or 2 day. He says the criteria is more scientific criteria. أو مضي وقت قصير جدا, very small, it peaked out and خلاص, it was declared. This is some of the groups in United States, some of the Sunni fellows, they go with this criteria. Okay. Question number 18. In Minhaj al-Salihin, you have mentioned, what did you mention, Sayyidina? He mentioned that it is makruh to fast on the day of Arafat. Whoever fears that this fasting is going to make him weak in dua, like for example, in normal cases, on the day of Arafat, lengthy du'as, dua of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, dua of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, ziyarat of Imam Hussein, and other tasbihat, and lots of amal are there. So you in Arafat, fasting is mustahab. However, it becomes makruh. Dua is more important in Arafat. That if it clashes with your dua session. So this is in your hometown. So the question is, does this rule include include a person who's performing Hajj in the land of Arafat? He says yes, it's inclusive. Question number 9. If a person wanted to fast in Arafat and he was a traveler, like most of the people, they're travelers. So can he make a nether? Because this is something not every marja agrees upon, making nether to fast in travel. Then in travel you can fast in certain conditions mentioned in the Minhaj al-Salihin. We'll discuss that when we come to. But here, the questioner asked, if a person was Hajj, and most of the Hujjah, they don't stay 10 days, and still Arafat is about um, uh, out of Hadd al-Tarakhus of Makkah. Even if you made 10 days intention in Makkah, you leave beyond Hadd al-Tarakhus. You cannot stay more than like 6 hours. We're talking about the whole night and the whole day staying in Arafat. So that breaks your residency of Makkah. So it's not even part of Makkah, as we saw. It's not even part of Haram. So that means if you exit Makkah and you are going to stay there like more than half a day or one day, or different, depends on your marja how much time they allow you to stay in the after you pass the Hadd al-Tarakhus, the limit of permissibility, where you can start praying qasr and break your fast. So this is more than Hadd al-Tarakhus. Hadd al-Tarakhus, where the adhan disappears and the houses disappear, okay, or the people of the city disappear. Different expressions of maraja. The houses disappear, the adhan disappears, sound of adhan you cannot hear. It's like 5-6 kilometers, not more. So out of 22 kilometers, and Arafat is about 19 kilometers from the border of Makkah, from the Mina side. So therefore, because once you enter Mina, you're not in Makkah. Remember that border of the big shaitan? That's the border of Makkah and Mina. So once you leave the border, 5 kilometers, that means you're in Muzdalifa. So you're Hadd al-Tarakhus. You can't see Makkah. You can't see you can't hear the adhan of Makkah without speakers. We are talking about adhan not being heard without speakers, not with speakers. Okay. So that's the thing. Like adhan in the border of those border of the Makkah. Okay, if somebody says adhan on the top of the building and this place is in the border of Makkah, that's why the adhan issue is a bit tricky. So some maraja they use this people of the city disappear, or the walls of the city disappear, or you disappear from the people of the city. So that's a unique technical method as well, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, say the Sistani Damodullah's wording is that if you disappear from the people of the city, because you are one person and people of the city, the people, you can still see them, but they can't see you because they're people and you're one. So these are some technical things. Follow your marja in it. When can so this is beyond Hadd al-Tarakhus, beyond the limit of permissibility when people of the city disappear or you disappear from the people of city, and going beyond, and you're going to stay more than a day, perhaps a day and a half, like from night till the second day, or 24 hours. That's too much. You can go few hours and come back, and your residency of 10 days is okay. But in this place, it's a problematic situation to even think of the residencies inclusive. However, if somebody is traveling, then he can do nether. Lillahi alayya, I am making a vow upon myself for the sake of Allah, for God, that I'm going to, for example, fast in Arafat, day of Arafat in Arafat. So can he fast? He says, yes, he can fast with nether. However, he needs to make the nether from the night, not the same day of Arafat. Yasahhu, it will be correct, it will be permissible. However, وَلْيَكُنْ نَذْرُهُ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. However, his nether should be at night. And question number 20, we will stop here, or yeah. Okay. Is it permissible to enter the state of Ihram for Hajj al-Tamattu from Mina if it was not possible to do in Makkah. So for some reason, he did not enter the state of Ihram. We mentioned that in the previous rulings, the reason. And we said there's a case that enter the state of Ihram wherever you are. So if someone was not able to enter the state of Ihram in Makkah, is it permissible for him to enter the state of Ihram in Mina? And if he had an option to enter the state of Ihram in Mina or in Arafat, which one should he choose? Okay. You will be thinking that what brings Mina? Mina is after Muzdalifa. What brings Mina now? Okay, let me tell you why. Once upon a time, all these recommended were done, recommendations, but due to the time and this and that, the recommended have been shaved off. So now what people they do, like school of Ahl al-Bayt mostly, they leave Makkah, they arrive Arafat. Why they arrive Arafat? It's mustahab to go first Mina. Mustahab, not wajib Mina. Wajib Mina is after the shaving of the head and pelting the big pillar of the shaitan and exiting the state of ihram. Okay, sacrifice and those three things of Mina. After that, staying eve of 11th and eve of 12th is wajib. So why are we staying before going Arafat? Because it's mustahab. It is recommended that people, they leave Makkah on the 8th Dhul Hajj, they stay in Mina the night, on the next day morning they go to Arafat. This is the mustahab procedure. So why did we shave off this staying in Mina in proper tents and proper bathrooms, proper thing, and you take us Arafat to rot with the mosquitoes there, mosquito bites here and there, it's packed with mosquito, Arafat. So I'm not freaking the hell out of you. I mean, they control it. It's just like, and they are not harmful mosquitoes. Maybe they're angels, if you sleep, they pinch you or something like that. Anyhow, but you can wear this. Put your bed sheet on your face and sleep, because while sleeping you can cover your face. It's not a problem. So anyhow, but you will be hearing buzzing sounds. But nothing happens. Millions they go for Hajj, and alhamdulillah, they don't, not every mosquito has those diseases. So anyhow, so what happens that they used to say Mina, and then next day they would go in Arafat. Nowadays, because of the traffic and congestion and getting into the bus and arriving Arafat next day 9 o'clock, they might miss the Dhuhr time and miss the stay in Arafat, or perhaps because of the crowd they might miss like most of the day or most of the time after sunset. So that's why, as a precautionary measure, majority of the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, they go where? Direct to Arafat on the 8th Dhul Hajj, and they sleep over there. It's not wajib. And the wajib time is next day, Dhuhr time. So this is something which was done. So that's why the question is, maybe some people might be still doing mustahab, the walkers, they walk, they can go in Mina and they can start walking from Mina to Arafat. They will arrive before noon because it's walking is easier than in the buses and congestions. So he says that yeah, can he do the ihram from Mina? He forgot. For some reason, he did not enter the state of ihram in Makkah. Now he's in Mina, like recommendation thing doing. So, and he's going to go Arafat next day. So does he have an option to enter the state of ihram in Mina, or just enter the state of ihram in Arafat? He says, if someone did not enter the state of ihram in Makkah and he exited Makkah, if it was out of forgetfulness or unawareness, or he left Makkah knowing that he will be able to come back and then enter the state of Ihram from Makkah. He left Jeddah, he left somewhere to do some errands. We said just enter the state of Ihram and leave Makkah. But he left knowing that he's going to come back. If he knows that he's not going to come back to Makkah, he needs to enter the state of Ihram and then leave Jeddah, wherever he wants to go. So therefore, if this person did not enter the state of Ihram out of forgetfulness, or out of unawareness, or he was determined, he left Makkah, but he was determined that he's going to come back, and whoopsie daisy, he was not able to come back. So, so he says in these cases, it is permissible for him to enter the state of Ihram from the place he remembers or becomes aware. So forget. A person who forgot becomes remembers. A person who was unaware becomes aware. A person who left to come back, he realizes he will not be able to come back Makkah. So he says that it is permissible for that person to enter the state of Ihram from his place, regardless of being in Mina, in wherever he remembered, realized, or became aware. Okay, in Mina or Arafat or any other place. However, if he had a probability that he would not be able to come back to Makkah, okay, without entering the state of Ihram, then it is necessary upon him to enter the state of Ihram before he leaves Makkah, because he's going to leave, he's going to come back. But there is a possibility that he may not be able to make it back to Makkah. So he needs to enter the state of Ihram before he leaves Makkah. If he is, if he would not do that, and after that he was not able to come back to Makkah, then his Ihram would not be considered for Hajj Tamattu. His Ihram out of Makkah would not be valid. Okay, so here are the steps. If there was a possibility that he would not be able to return to Makkah, he needs to enter the state of Ihram and leave Makkah. If he does not do that, okay, and he was not able to return to Makkah, his Ihram will not be valid for Hajj Tamattu out of Makkah. لا يصح منه الإحرام لحج تمتعه خارج مكة. And this question 21, because we had discussed Sayyid al-Khouei's situation, so maybe this is a repeated question. He says, same question. Somebody is remaining. I'm not going to, it's already explained. Sayyid al-Khouei, Sayyid SISTANI is has a precautionary measure in both cases, certainty in going against, and possibility in going against the declaration of the authority. And he says people can do other, refer to another marja. Okay. So he can refer to any marja, regardless of his opinion is according to the opinion of Sayyid al-Sistani in moon sighting, or different than the ruling of the Sayyid al-Sistani in moon sighting. Yeah. So inshallah, we'll try to get something out of ruling 21 in our upcoming session. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.